And we are live with the GBOF because I really can't say Great Balls of Fire because it's a ridiculous sounding pay-per-view name, but this is the review that y'all been waiting for. It's your boy Mill Hustles here with my old friend Roger and Isaiah. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Nothing much, guys. So we're here to review quickly the pay-per-view from yesterday, if they're even called pay-per-view still.
Yeah,
I don't think that industry even exists anymore, but you know.
I don't even know what kind of name is that. What does Great Balls of Fire even mean?
I mean, it's an old song, an old classic song, you know.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire.
it was a 1915 show with like a drive-in and stuff like that, like, old cars and stuff like that.
It's one of those old Greaser versus Soch songs, bro. We weren't even thought of yet. Hell, I'm surprised if our parents were even born when that fucking song came out. So, Roger, you saw the whole show. I saw part of the show. Isaiah, you saw none of the show. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the match card. See exactly what happened. Well, Roger, what did you think overall of the show?
I wasn't really into it until the last few matches. Then they got better, and then I enjoyed it a little bit more. But one of the best matches in my opinion was there's a pre-show match with Akira Tozawa versus Neville for like the Cruiserweight Championship. And 205 Live is kind of dying on the vine, but Akira Tozawa is probably one of the reasons to watch that show, though. He's good.
You know, I've been a really big fan of Neville ever since he was a heel. I mean, I liked him before he was a heel, but I really like him as a heel.
Yeah.
You know, it's just his characters just developed so well. What do you think about Neville, Isaiah?
Never really heard of him.
Oh my God, he's a cruiserweight champ, dude. See, Isaiah's not really watching WWE right now, are you? Mostly watching Lucha Underground.
Oh, that's a good show too. I love Lucha Underground too. I've been going through that on Netflix. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. They do a lot of the stuff that just blows my mind away, and
yeah, I'm just now starting off the second season on Netflix of that, and I mean, I'm watching stuff they did a year ago, and it blows like some of the WWE stuff today out of the water.
And you know what's funny? What's funny is the guy that writes the show is a former WWE creative writer, and most of the guys that are wrestling on there that are not from Mexico or Japan are former WWE development talents.
Yep. What's his name? The Machine Cage. He was going to be in NXT, and then Sunday cut him short and cut him loose, and so he went to I think either AAA or just straight to Lucha Underground. He was supposed to be Logan because he had kind of the Wolverine haircut and stuff.
Yep, and so is what's his name? You said Cage, the biker guy. What's his name?
The biker, son of Havoc.
Son of Havoc. Evilise.
Yeah, I've seen her on that.
Katrina. Mil Muertes. They're all from NXT.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I guess they didn't get NXT. They just went indie.
Matanza, aka Jeff Cobb, I don't think he's ever been through there, and I'm surprised he's not there yet because that guy's a great talent. I've never heard him talk, but he can wrestle his ass off. He's like a new Kurt Angle to me.
He was the Olympic champion for Guam in the Olympics for wrestling.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew Mil Muertes at NXT. I thought he was
also in TNA.
Yeah, Lucha Underground takes a lot from AAA and stuff like that. So like people actually will jump from one side to the other.
AAA owns a big stake in Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of those talents there are connected to AAA.
And then Lucha Underground in the off season, the wrestlers go back to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG, and they fight, as you've seen probably some of those matches like Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix on the same tag team. Because they're brothers in real life, and they'll fight like Will Ospreay and Ricochet in PWG, and it's like the best match in the whole wide universe, You
know what? PWG should change their name to Pro Wrestling Fucking Foolery.
I mean, I haven't heard much about PWG except for the stuff I've seen on YouTube, but it's owned by wrestlers, so a lot of people like to work there. Apparently, like off and on.
That's cool. Wrestlers want to work. That's fine. But PWG, Has no, there's at PWG and Isaiah, you'll know a lot about this. You know what? Fuck Great Balls of Fire. We're not talking about Great Balls of Fire. I'm sorry. Okay, are y'all cool with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're just gonna shit all over wrestling for now. But I mean, first of all, there's no such thing as in-ring psychology in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And then when someone tries to have an actual wrestling match in said company, they get booed because they're not doing flippity floppity video game shit. They're not throwing invisible hand grenades. They're not standing in line poking each other in the fucking eye. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want like in-ring psychology, go to New Japan.
Shit, you're not going to get it there either.
I know they have like.
Let me tell you about the G1 special. Did either of you watch the New Japan G1 special?
I heard about it. I didn't know I could get to watch it.
It was a good show, except the first two matches had so many moves. Like people tried to get their shit in so much that when it was Jay Lethal versus what the fuck is his name? It's one of the top guys in New Japan. But anyway, nobody gave a fuck about the match because they had they already drained the crowd.
Oh wow.
And those guys tried to have a wrestling match. I'm surprised they didn't say halfway, and you know what? Fuck this shit. Nobody's reacting. I'm going to lay down, cover me, and let's get this shit over with.
Yeah, do the poke of doom from Kevin Nash. Just poke him in the face and go, oh, and fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that finger, there's so many. I'm going to name y'all, speaking about the finger poke of doom, I'm going to name y'all a couple of things that have become like diseases to some of these wrestlers. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tony Schiavone, the announcer, he can't go anywhere without someone saying to him, oh, that'll put some asses in seats. Then Kevin Nash can't go anywhere without someone talking about the finger poke of doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vince Russo can't go anywhere without someone saying, oh, you put Judy Bagwell on a pole. You know, and what else? Eric Bischoff can't go anywhere without people saying how bad of a businessman he was, how he overspent and let the wrestlers do whatever they wanted. The thing that all these people have in common is it was WCW, and that shit is still better than the current product.
Oh, yeah. I'd say probably WCPW is the new WCW, in my opinion.
The who?
WCPW, the British.
The ones that are battling YouTube.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's trying to kill them. I think it's personal. I don't know.
I think Vince McMahon or somebody else from on high probably pushed Google or YouTube in that direction, in my opinion.
YouTube, I mean, WWE makes so much money off YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if the WWE cut a side deal with them saying, hey, make it really hard for these other wrestling channels.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They don't want any opposition, but you got to have opposition to have good product, you know? That's why WCW and WWF back in the day were so good. They had to compete against each other.
Yeah, I mean, now
if you notice, go ahead.
Then you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
WWE has, because they have no competition, Vince McMahon doesn't feel motivated to, you know, make the product better, and put on a good show. He's just doing it.
There's no decent storylines anymore, or long storylines for that matter. We don't even know why Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt were fighting in Great Balls of Fire. They just did. There was no background, nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, when Vince McMahon and the WWE had competition, that's when he was motivated to stay on top, you know, and let
him up weekly, and half the time they would like out them on the other show, be like, oh, we're watching that other show on the other channel. Don't worry, some guy just won the championship and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. But I mean, when you have an opponent that good, you got to kick your game up, you know, weekly.
I mean, let's be honest though. Before the rise of WCW, the product was awful for the WWF at the time.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
When they started really losing ratings, when someone was actually competing with them, then, you know, I think honestly, if TNA, GFW, Impact, NWA, TNA, Total Nonstop Action, Tits and Ass, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, had made the right decisions and not overspended the way they did at the beginning, you know, I think they would be an actual competitor to the WWE.
Oh yeah, now Global Force Wrestling or whatever it is now, because it's not the Owl anymore. It's Global Force. They changed that one over.
Good, they got rid of that Owl. But I mean, honestly, right now, WWE's competition is New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, New Japan is making a foothold here in the United States, and they're probably going to bring their streaming service to more English-speaking customers too. So they're going to be the big titan coming down the mountain.
And the thing about it is New Japan, I mean, the WWE has been around for over 80 years. They used to be called the Capital Wrestling Corporation or some shit like that. Then it became the Triple WF. New Japan Pro Wrestling started in 1970 something. So they've been around a long time. And when they have those shows in the Tokyo Dome, they've beaten a couple of WrestleManias.
Oh, yeah.
They've had crowds of 100,000 and up. WWE has only had that one time.
Yeah, and sometimes WWE lies about it because what culture?
Oh, absolutely. They're not. They're always going to inflate the numbers. Yeah. You know, if I'm a sales, we used to work together, Roger. If I said I sold 10 cell phones, I'm going to tell you I sold 13 just to make myself look good. It's human nature.
Yep, that's true. But yeah, what culture will point their cameras up at the top of the stadiums and you'll see the empty seats and be like, "Oh, you're not lying. This isn't at a capacity. You're lying."
I mean, I've seen people actually have the audience, you know, cheer certain things at certain times, have them sit apart just to make the place look as full as possible because advertisers look at that stuff.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. If they see empty seats, they're not going to give you the product. Speaking of which, Rocket League is like funded the WWE.
Yeah, and now if you look at a WWE show now, like it just looks small as crap. It's unbelievable how.
Mm-hmm.
I think WWE should go back to how they were back in 1993 to 1997 when they were running small places. I mean, they're going to have to cut a lot of the wrestlers, but I think that if Attitude Era started getting them back into the big arenas because that's when they were starting to win the Monday Night War. I'm talking about between the golden era, 1985 to 1992 and 1997, late 97 to 2001. That's the Attitude Era. I'm talking about the new generation. If they start running buildings like that, but they have to improve the product. They can't give us a new generation type product because that's just not going to help at all. Ratings and business were down at the time. Business is not that down because they have so many other revenue streams. And unfortunately, the last main revenue stream they're worried about is the actual fucking product.
Pretty much, yeah. Woke culture actually went down to a list of 10 reasons how WWE does not connect and engage in their fans anymore. And one of those was they got rid of the stables.
You know, honestly, I think what culture needs to stop with those opinions until they get to that level of even TNA or Ring of Honor. So fuck butt culture. But we can. They're okay. I think they're kind of obnoxious, though. I think they give too much. They're the worst kind of mark there is, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, last night's show, I know we're not going to really cover it, but I was looking forward to the last two matches.
Yeah. Like
probably.
I think the reason why WWE is going downhill is because they have that freaking PG label on, so they can't do as much as they want. Like
that's one nice thing about last night. They started getting bloody. There was blood in about 3 or 4 matches last night.
I mean, look, just
blood or anything.
I kind of disagree, Isaiah, because during the Hulk Hogan years, they were completely rated G, and it was a good product. Okay, the in-ring wasn't that good. We admit that, but they were more focused on the characters and the storylines, which were good, and promos. If they could get something like that, I mean, it got to the point where at that time, they literally looked like cartoon characters.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was a good product, a product that drew crazy houses. The schedules during the Hulk Hogan years were much crazier for the boys and the girls than they are now. Much crazier. I'm talking 2 times, 3, 4 times in a single weekend they would have to perform.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that. But
yeah, that's just me. I don't think a product – I think you just need to – sit down and really try to put an effort in, because I think you can still have a great product if it's PG. I mean, look at SmackDown. When SmackDown went live earlier this year, again, the first 2 or 3 episodes, people were raving at how good they were. You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
If they could keep that up, it'd be gravy. There were people that were starting to say, hey, you know what? I'm not watching Raw anymore because SmackDown's shorter and much better. Unfortunately, SmackDown's going back to what they were before they went live, which was just another show that got good views, but it wasn't what Raw was, but it was still the same boring product all around. Let's just
it depends on who your favorite wrestlers are. If you go from Raw to SmackDown, you'll go to the one that has more of your favorites on it normally.
No, and not only that, most of the favorites from SmackDown are now on Raw. But Raw, SmackDown still has a good selection of people.
Yeah.
So,
I think they should use some of these NXT better. In my opinion, they're like great in NXT, and then they come to the Fed and they're just like oatmeal. Nothing's really happening with them.
Yeah, I feel like that's how it is with NXT. I feel like I've been reading this article that's saying that most wrestlers at NXT don't actually make it to the main roster. And if they do, Vince McMahon controls the heck out of them, and he respects their mood.
Let me tell you this: if I was in NXT and they said, "Gilbert, you're never going to the main roster," I wouldn't have a problem with that because honestly, I wouldn't want to go to the main roster. Yeah. I used to live in Florida, so I would save as much money as I could. And as soon as I got released from NXT, deuces, I'm writing a book, I'm doing a podcast, I'm taking all the indie bookings as I can. Yeah, I'm gonna be okay. They don't have that hustle mentality like me. You got to hustle like Mill, man.
I like the writing in NXT better, in my opinion. I think the storylines are better. The heroes, the villains are better in NXT.
Speaking of NXT, honestly,
blowing them out of the water as far as Raw and SmackDown.
What do y'all think of Austin Aries getting let go?
I heard it was voluntary, actually. I heard he didn't like the way he was going.
Who knows? That these companies, they'll make you sign a contract to be quiet.
Yeah. There were rumors that he was a problem in the locker room. So Vince.
That was true. I didn't hear about those problems in the WWE, but I did hear about them in TNA and Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and then a lot of people say he'll go back to TNA and the Indies, where they'll kiss his ass more than they will in the Fed, because the Fed's not using him at all. He's just sitting there losing matches. Why bother?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the other problem with WWE nowadays is just the lack of characters. Like, there's none of them are actually memorable. At least on SmackDown or Raw. On NXT, I think there's a couple of them that catch my interest, like Azuka, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Asuka, I don't think she should ever lose that title. And if she does lose it, she needs to be beaten in a way that doesn't make her look weak. I'm talking she needs to get jumped by 3 or 4 women, get hit with a chair, just totally screwed out of it somehow, because I don't think there's a female in the entire roster that is a formidable enough opponent to her.
I think it's making Ember Moon to be the champion that beats her. And I think she probably would have beat her by now if she didn't get injured. But I like the matches with her and the little girl from Sanity. Those are pretty awesome. That's like the best women matches I've probably ever seen, as far as tables, ladders, and chairs.
Yeah, but it seems like she's actually hitting her opponents.
Oh yeah, she's a stiff Japanese wrestler. They'll connect and they don't care.
Yeah, but they're not really hitting each other. It's worked. It's just really stiff. You'll feel it, but you won't feel it like it's actually being done to you. And that's how it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, when you have a style that's stiff and you work the schedule of the WWE, you're shortening your lifespan and your career by a lot, because that's a lot of punishment to take. Even though it's quote unquote work, shit really does happen sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But Asuka, I think she's also a video game reviewer in Japan. She writes for Sega of Japan magazine or stuff like that. And she does a lot of stuff other than just wrestle. But wrestling is
I'd like to find out the other stuff she does besides wrestle.
Yeah. She's a big video game reviewer in Japan. She buys most new games. That's what she tweets about on Twitter, and her Instagram stuff's about what video games she bought.
Speaking about anime and Japan and cartoons and all that, aren't both of you big anime fans?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
There you go.
Yeah,
before we wrap up this
bunch of anime.
Before we wrap up this conversation, why don't y'all talk about a little bit about your anime passion and your social media plugs and all that good stuff before we wrap up?
Oh, I've just finished Tiger Mask W on Crunchyroll. It's a pretty much a live. It's like a anime about wrestling where everything is like they hit each other as hard as they can and try to just beat the guy in submission. It's a great anime if anybody ever watched it. And there's people from New Japan in it guest starring as themselves.
Oh, you need to send that to me. Send me a link.
It's awesome.
What about you, Isaiah?
I'm into like animes like Attack on Titan, Naruto, Death Note, Ergo Proxy, a whole bunch of animes. They're really, really good.
You know what my favorite
I haven't
animated
gotten
shows?
into animes.
My shows. I'm a very casual anime fan.
Mhm.
I like Street Fighter when they were on TV. I like Speed Racer Uncensored. Dragon Ball Z. Everybody likes that. Nobody ever talks about hentai. Are people afraid of hentai? I hear manga. Fucking talk about hentai.
It's kind of a taboo, I guess. It's like the porn version of anime, more or less. So
Yeah. I don't know why people are afraid of it. That shit's awesome because people have obviously never heard of cosplay.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're uncensored here.
Are you gonna dress up as a tentacle monster there, Emil?
If I see what it looks like and it fits, maybe. Okay, guys. So before we roll, go ahead and give out any plugs. How can people get a hold of y'all on social media, et cetera, et cetera?
Go ahead, Isaiah.
All right. Y'all
Tell them about your martial arts blog and your book coming out.
Yeah, I have a martial arts blog that y'all can visit. It's got a lot of different subjects from martial arts, self-defense, weapons. I recommend y'all check it out. It's at it's called Everything Self-Defense at Blogspot.
Mhm.
And I also got a YouTube channel which with a wrestling podcast on it.
Nice.
Look up Isaiah Pablo on YouTube and you'll find me there. I recommend you check me out and see my stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I've got a movie premiere coming out July 15th called Spread the Fear at Anderson Civic Center. So you can get tickets for that at Rainbow Records or Tribble's Bar and Grill in Piedmont.
Is this an independent movie?
Yeah, we shot it around Anderson, like Pendleton and stuff.
Oh, are you in it?
I'm not in it. I'm behind the scenes and kind of helping out.
Oh,
I was in the first movie, and we're making a bunch more movies after this. So
do you have any completed ones besides this one?
There's one called Revenge with a question mark at the end. It's either on Facebook or YouTube. You might be able to find it.
Send me that because I absolutely love independent movies. I love them. I'm a big indie movie supporter, so send that to me ASAP.
Yeah, my production company I work with right now is called Dead Farms Productions. So they're starting to get their stride. So it's starting to make more and more movies and making bigger and bigger stuff. So,
hey, let me know when y'all need a soundtrack.
Okay, we will.
Then
I'm also on like 2 podcasts. I'm on Chopsaki Cinema on YouTube, reviewing like old Chopsaki movies, and I'm on 8 Star Anime where we just review anime mostly a lot. And just check us out on YouTube, and that's about it.
All right, well, I guess that's it, guys. We're out of here. Thank y'all for joining, and peace.
Ciao.
All right, no problem.
Thanks for listening.